Welcome to the Kindness Cast from Neighborhood Bridges. I'm Ron Smith. The purpose of the Kindness Cast is to showcase the people that are making a difference in our communities to bring kindness to those in need. Since our founding in 2017, Neighborhood Bridges has grown to serve over 43 communities across several states. On today's episode, we're joined by Rick Bannister, Chief Believer and founder of Neighborhood Bridges. Welcome, Rick, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ron. I'm very excited to continue the Neighborhood Bridges Kindness Casts.
Can you share with us the motivation behind starting Neighborhood Bridges?
Neighborhood Bridges is a charity. It's a 501c3 that I created based upon my own life experience. I have lived in the Westerville, Ohio community most of my life, almost 50 years. I grew up here. I met my wife, Diane, here at Westerville South High School. And we decided to get married and raise a family here in Westerville. And we have 4 daughters, ages 34 down to 19, all of whom are products and graduates of Westerville City Schools. And 30 years ago, I served on the Board of Education here in Westerville. I served across 2 terms, and I've chaired 7 school district levies for Westerville. I've been the levy chair 7 different times. And so I share all of that because Neighborhood Bridges is the culmination of my life experience. I love the mission and possibilities that our public school systems create and stand for. And as a parent and as a community leader, I could see that there were more and more kids who had basic needs. I think you see things in greater detail right through the lens of a parent. And so Diane and I would see that when our girls would bring friends home or be a part of their theater or soccer teams or cheerleading or whatever they were involved in. And so with all that campaign experience I have, and I've led 15 campaigns in total here in Westerville, I thought, why don't we just merge those 2 things? Why don't we create a charity, Neighborhood Bridges, that goes door to door virtually for children in need? And so we launched Neighborhood Bridges on Martin Luther King Day in 2017. And so we've been in operation now, for 6.5 years. And our mission, Ron, is to bridge communities with schools in providing basic needs, removing barriers, and seeking equity for students so they can engage and succeed in school and life. We're very laser-like in our focus, in how we serve and who we serve at Neighborhood Bridges. And the last thing I want to tell you, Ron, is that I tend to be a very optimistic person. And Neighborhood Bridges was really a bet on the kindness and love that exists in each of our communities. And my gosh, have I been wrong a lot of times in my life? But I was right about this. I was right about how people are, I think, starving to help each other. And many times they just don't know how. And so at Neighborhood Bridges, that's what we do. We serve up opportunities to help children in need, hopefully several times a week.
What do you find most rewarding about this work?
Every year I like to come up with a new tagline for my email signature on my email. And it really speaks to this point, Ron, that Neighborhood Bridges brings me in contact with some of the best of humanity in all of our 43 communities, from Sylvania, Michigan, which is on the Ohio-Michigan border in northern Ohio, all the way to Baldwin County and Alabama or Moss Point, Mississippi. We are finding just the best people who are either advocating for students in need, school counselors and social workers who, by the way, have been doing this for generations, but also volunteers in our communities who have been touched by our mission, like yourself, Ron, as an area director, who have said, I want to come forward and lead this effort in my community. So the most rewarding part is meeting these people, understanding what makes their hearts beat, seeing them drive meaningful impact in their community and doing it in a way that is custom to that community. It's been wonderful. And I shouldn't also leave out the fact that in 6.5 years, we have now driven together impact over 352,000 students. So that's what this is all about. And it gets back to that, what I mentioned to you about placing that bet on humanity. I was right.
Thanks, Rick. Coming up,
We have 43 different communities spanning over 1,200 miles throughout Ohio and Tennessee and Alabama and Mississippi. And so Neighborhood Bridges is designed to meet the specific needs in that community.
when your kindness cast continues, we'll be right back.
At Neighborhood Bridges, kindness is cool. How can I provide kindness? Visit neighborhoodbridges.org. Select any community you wish to support. Enter my email. Quick and easy. Anonymous student and family needs and delivery instructions come to my email. I select a need, such as a size 8 winter coat with a hood. I donate the coat. I drop it off at a specific fire station or donation center as instructed. Volunteers deliver my contribution to the advocate. Kindness provided. Join our Gateway for Kindness and sign up today.
Welcome back to the Kindness Cast. I'm Ron Smith. With us today is Rick Bannister, Chief Believer of Neighborhood Bridges. Rick, can you tell us about the specific solution that Neighborhood Bridges brings to a community to make an impact?
This is a great question. And so when I created Neighborhood Bridges, I had an eye to scale. I was hoping that if our plan worked in Westerville, and it has, that in Westerville, Ohio, that is, that we could scale to other communities. So there's nothing top down about Neighborhood Bridges except for our mission and the ways that we drive impact. What's really great about our endeavor is that we have 43 different communities spanning over 1,200 miles throughout Ohio and Tennessee and Alabama and Mississippi. And so Neighborhood Bridges is designed to meet the specific needs in that community. So children may have, there may be more children in need in one community versus another. And the resources that are available in that community are always different. So we want to tap into those resources through Neighborhood Bridges to provide speed and efficiency to the process. We don't want to be redundant or compete with existing services. It's to the contrary, hence the name Neighborhood Bridges. We want to bridge with other resources, all in the spirit of speed and efficiency and driving impact to students in need.
How do you measure that success?
The first way, and I guess the most important way, is anytime a school counselor or a social worker or intake coordinator from a food pantry or a mental health specialist, every time they post a need to their community on Neighborhood Bridges, we ask them to tell us how many students or family members are going to be impacted by this need. And so the technology that we've created is kind of cool. Every time a need is filled, then we're able to keep track of the impact that's created within each of our communities and then globally across the entire Neighborhood Bridges. So whether it's providing personal care items to a high school student, like toothpaste or deodorant or feminine hygiene products, or a backpack, or paying a school fee, or getting someone in the community to donate a bed or a washer and dryer. And by the way, you know this because of the work you do in Gahanna. While we're 43 unique communities, a lot of this we have in common. The most common needs that are posted on Neighborhood Bridges for furniture are for beds and washers and dryers in all of our communities. So the most rewarding part, I think, is tracking that data and seeing how communities are moving the needle and driving impact. And while those are numbers, each one of those numbers represents, a beating heart, a young person with, their whole life in front of them. And I hope that through all of the great work that we're removing what a superintendent would refer to as non-cognitive barriers to learning. That we're removing those barriers so those kids are coming to school. That's where the magic happens, right? When they come to school and they're with their teachers and they're with their coaches and they are able to fully engage in their schoolwork. That's what we're all about.
Rick, share with us the growth and achievements you've had in just 6.5 years.
I'm so grateful for all of this. So we started in one community on Martin Luther King Day. It was a snowy day in 2017 right here in Westerville, and I launched Neighborhood Bridges on a blog. I didn't even have technology. But despite my inabilities, Neighborhood Bridges thrived because school counselors and social workers came to this like moth to a flame because this is what they do. They advocate for kids. And all we did was open it up to the community. So we've seen dramatic growth, even through a very tough COVID period, which will be in the history books for generations to read about what we went through as a country and as a part of a global society. But we've continued to grow. And I hope it's because we've kept things simple. Everything is decided and driven locally. And so we're now in 43 communities, and it's pretty balanced between Ohio and Alabama. We've added a community now in Mississippi, Moss Point, Mississippi, and we will go and expand our service area to any school district that assigns this a priority. And once they do that, we are happy to serve.
Thanks, Rick. Up next,
Neighborhood Bridges is designed to bridge neighborhoods, those in need with those of resources, and also to bridge with existing resources in a community, a food pantry, clothing, charity, or whatever there might be.
when your Kindness Cast continues. We'll be right back.
Join Neighborhood Bridges Kindness Council. 100% of your yearly sponsorship directly impacts those in need in your community. We invite businesses, organizations, families, and individuals to join. You'll be featured on our website, communication, and social media. Want to reach more communities? Check out all the areas we serve. Join our Kindness Council. It benefits your business and community. Email contact@neighborhoodbridges.org for details. Neighborhood Bridges, a gateway for kindness.
Welcome back to the Kindness Cast. I'm Ron Smith. With us today is Rick Bannister, Chief Believer of Neighborhood Bridges. Rick, can you share with us the interesting background behind the Neighborhood Bridges logo?
So we have the same logo that we started with 6.5 years ago, and I get a lot of questions about it. So I've been encouraged to share a little bit about our logo. So first about our name, Neighborhood Bridges. Going back to my own experiences, someone that's been involved in my own community, I didn't want Neighborhood Bridges to be redundant to any existing resources. And by the way, the growth of poverty in suburban America since year 2000 has outpaced anywhere else in our country. And so Neighborhood Bridges is designed to bridge neighborhoods, those in need with those of resources, and also to bridge with existing resources in a community, a food pantry, clothing, charity, or whatever there might be. But as it pertains to the logo, our oldest daughter, Haley, who a week from today, by the way, turns 34, she created the logo for us. And you will notice that it's in all lowercase. It drives a lot of people crazy, especially teachers. It's not grammatically correct, but I kind of insisted on this because it's how we operate. It's in all lowercase as an expression of humility that it takes an entire community, right? If we're going to do this correctly and really drive meaningful impact, I'll share a statistic about that. In any school community, public school community, 74% of the residents in that community don't have kids in schools. And so they're not engaged regularly. and we understand that, and we engage that segment of the community. So that's why the logo looks the way that it does, and why we're named the way that we are, is in all lowercase. We need all resources on the bridge together to really make impact meaningful and sustainable in our communities.
Looking forward, what are the future goals of the organization?
We want to continue to learn from our service, and we share a lot across Neighborhood Bridges, from community to community. We share best practices, or if we skin our knee and need to correct something, we share that too. My goal with Neighborhood Bridges is, pretty laser-like. We want to get kids to come to school. That's what we want. I just want them in the classroom. I believe in the school setting. I know it works. And we want those kids free of, worry about hunger or clothing, or the ability to participate in an extracurricular activity or a test fee or whatever that might be. And so we don't just plant flags at Neighborhood Bridges. We want to expand our reach within each community. So we want to continue to grow impact and find strategies that are specific to those communities. In the for-profit world, that would be described as looking at same-store sales, right? In this case, it's looking at a community and saying, how can we drive more impact and to students in need? So that would be goal number one. And then goal number two is, if we can find adjacent communities, or school communities who think this is cool and important to their work, we are more than happy to come and serve and share our methods and our mission, so that we can grow both up and out as a charity and in our approach to service to others.
Thanks, Rick. Still to come.
For the 6th year in a row, Neighborhood Bridges has been able to provide all this impact, 1,000 kids per week on average, through Neighborhood Bridges, with our administrative costs being at 5% or less.
When your Kindness Cast continues, we'll be right back.
Groceries, coats for kids, help with school fees. There is momentum to kindness. Once in motion, it passes from person to person, community to community. Neighborhood Bridges creates a gateway for kindness. We bridge the gap between those in need and those who can help. Kindness and impact can begin in 5 easy steps. Form a steering committee of community leaders to help promote your efforts. Include the city, chamber, and others. Select volunteers to be area directors. This is a part-time role. We provide a toolkit. Determine donation drop-off locations. Select advocates to post needs. Teachers, counselors, social workers, clergy, therapists. Start posting needs. Advocates log in, post needs. The community responds. Needs are met year-round. Monetary gifts are accepted online. Monthly giving is an option. To an account set up by Neighborhood Bridges. Kindness provided.
Welcome back to the Kindness Cast. I'm Ron Smith. With us today is Rick Bannister, Chief Believer of Neighborhood Bridges. Rick, can you share with us what sets us apart as a nonprofit?
I think there's a couple of things here that I'm very proud of as it relates to Neighborhood Bridges. While we serve in 43 communities, everything is managed locally. So there's nothing top down about Neighborhood Bridges except for our mission and our methods. Who we serve and how we serve is dictated locally through our volunteers and our steering committees in each community. And that's how, it's all grassroots. It's how we engage a community through city and school leaders and church leaders and other charities, chambers of commerce and business leaders and all of those kinds of things, I think is unique to Neighborhood Bridges and integral to the design of our charity. Something else that I'm very proud of is that funds and materials that are donated locally stay local. They all stay local, and we share that data. within each community, and we track it by community. And so I think that that is a meaningful message to members of a community, to donors, to know that their donations are going to impact kids that live around the corner or down the street or across town, but in their community. And Ron, something that I've really insisted on since the beginning, and I'm really proud of everyone for working together to help make this happen. But we just filed our 990, our IRS Form 990, that our auditors completed for us. They do this work every year. And again, for the 6th year in a row, Neighborhood Bridges has been able to provide all this impact, 1,000 kids per week on average, through Neighborhood Bridges, with our administrative costs being at 5% or less. And I'm really proud and grateful for that. And so I hope that this means creates a level of trust and respect within each community, that we are turning those dollars around and putting them to use in each of our communities.
Thanks, Rick. How can people get involved and support Neighborhood Bridges as a nonprofit?
That's a great question. And so it's all about community engagement. It's a mathematical equation, simple. We've got advocates posting for needs on behalf of children in need. These are learned professionals, trained professionals posting needs through login access. But we need involvement on the other side of that bridge, on the subscriber and donor side. So I would encourage community members to Google us. Look at our Google reviews. I'm very proud of those. Take a look at our website at www.neighborhoodbridges.org. Click on the community nearest you and subscribe. You just simply scroll down and add your email. And what that does is you then are notified whenever a new need is posted in your community. That might be once or 2 times a week, or maybe 3 times a week. But we only send you an alert when something new has been posted. Then you can respond right from your email. We also have an equal number or more followers on social media. We're very active. Each Neighborhood Bridges community has a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and an Instagram account. And so if you're under 40, you're likely active on Instagram. If you're over 40, you're likely more likely to be engaged in Facebook. So you can find us either ways, and we will post needs there. And we also are vigilant about closing the loop and sharing when a community has filled a need. And our communities have filled 1,110 needs just this year through July, and impacted over almost 33,000 kids. So it's all about engagement and help when you can. If you've got that pair of shoes you want to donate, wonderful. If you'd like to kick in $10, that's great too. Or if we go out with a furniture need, you may have that. And so we just encourage you to follow along and hopefully gain a greater understanding of what the specific needs are in that community as it relates to the kids in our public school setting.
Thanks, Rick. Up next, a story of impact.
I just couldn't imagine that there are kids coming to school and not knowing where they're going to lay down their head.
When your Kindness Cast continues, we'll be right back.
Join Neighborhood Bridges Kindness Council. 100% of your yearly sponsorship directly impacts those in need in your community. We invite businesses, organizations, families, and individuals to join. You'll be featured on our website, communication, and social media. Want to reach more communities? Check out all the areas we serve. Join our Kindness Council. It benefits your business and community. Email contact@neighborhoodbridges.org for details. Neighborhood Bridges, a gateway for kindness.
Welcome back to the Kindness Cast. I'm Ron Smith. With us today is Rick Bannister, Chief Believer of Neighborhood Bridges. Rick, with so many acts of kindness that have been done by Neighborhood Bridges, can you think of one story that really stands out to you that shows the true impact of Neighborhood Bridges?
It's a great question. There are so many that come to mind. I want to tell this story. So, I have lived in this community of Westerville for nearly 50 years, most of my life, and I've been involved. I mean, I think I know a few things about Westerville. And then we launched Neighborhood Bridges 7 years ago here, 6.5 years ago. And about 60 days into our launch, I got a call from the high school counselors in our 3 high schools asking to meet with me. And they love Neighborhood Bridges, and they asked, they wanted to talk to me about it. So we set up a meeting, and I went in, and there were high school counselors we have 3 high schools here in Westerville. And it was wonderful. We were all excited. I was grateful to be with them. I always like to say thank you to our counselors, by the way, for their great work. And the school counselors said to me, Ron, what about the homeless student population? What are we going to do? What can we do to help them? And I didn't know what to say. I was completely unaware that there are homeless students in our community. Now, Westerville is a very large and diverse school community. We're at about 34% free and reduced lunch today. But I was just caught off guard by this whole idea that there are homeless students. And so I cried about it for 2 days. I just couldn't imagine that there are kids coming to school and not knowing where they're going to lay down their head. So we came up with an idea. I turned it back to the school counselors and I said, what do they need? How can we help them? And so in our own community, and we've got about 16,500 students in Westerville, the estimate from the school district level is there's about 120, 125 homeless students that come forward each year. And let's drive down on this a little bit further. When we use this term homeless in this situation, these are not kids who are necessarily sleeping outside. They have been displaced from their home for a variety of reasons. And they are sofa surfing. They are finding ways to stay engaged in their school and community. You want to talk about heroes? These are the heroes of Neighborhood Bridges, these kids who somehow make it to school every day. And so the school counselor said, well, what they're asking for is toothpaste and deodorant, soap and shampoo, and feminine hygiene products. And so we created personal care pantries immediately. And we started those in high school, the 3 high schools, and then our middle schools. And very quickly that grew to every school in the school district, including elementary kids who had these same basic needs. And wouldn't you know, Ron, that one of the things that our communities from northern Ohio to southern Alabama all share is the same dilemma of how do we lift up and protect and care for and love these homeless students. So I love to tell this story because I was completely unaware of this problem until I got fully engaged in Neighborhood Bridges. And so we've got personal care pantries that Neighborhood Bridges supports in dozens of communities in Ohio and Alabama and Mississippi. And what I love most about them, Ron, is that we're getting the kids what they need so they'll feel valued and come to school. But also, the personal care pantries are located in private areas of the schools. And so The other benefit to them is it gives the school counselor or the social worker, the advocate, the principal, an opportunity to spend a few quiet moments with that student. And they end up assessing them. How are your shoes? Do you need clothing? Do you have a coat? Do you need undergarments? Do you need a backpack? All of these things. So our personal care pantries not only are great sources of love and hope, but they're lead retrieval systems for us, where we can actually dive deeper into that student and find out what additional needs they may have. Are they sleeping on the floor in their home? Or do they have a kitchen table to do their homework on? Stuff like that. And so that's a story that I will share because out of humility, we talk about that a lot. I had no idea this was happening. And my message to anyone watching this is it's in your community too. It's in all communities. And we're doing something about it. And I'm very, very proud of the work of our area directors and coming up with solutions locally with school leaders to lift up these kids and give them a very special and welcoming place in their schools.
Thanks, Rick. That definitely describes what impact Neighborhood Bridges can have on a community. That brings us to a close for this Kindness Cast. The mission behind Neighborhood Bridges is to bridge communities with schools and providing basic needs and removing barriers for students so they can engage and succeed in school and life. For additional information about Neighborhood Bridges, visit our website at neighborhoodbridges.org. We look forward to serving you on our next Kindness Cast and bring you the people and stories of how Neighborhood Bridges is making a difference and impact. I'm Ron Smith. On behalf of all of us at Neighborhood Bridges, thank you for watching, and remember, kindness changes everything, and kindness is cool. Have a good day.